All right, what's up, everybody? Good morning, and welcome to this Wild Wednesday call as we kick off this midweek conference call. Got an exciting one planned for you, as you get to hear from one of the top agents, but she's also an agent who hit a huge promotion last month. So you guys are going to get to hear from her shortly. Also going to be announcing another promotion, a big one as well. So stay tuned for that as we jump into this morning's call. Just some updates for you guys. So insurance toolkits, remember, if you're new here, it's free for you. So if you want to have the insurance toolkit tool added to your toolbox there, make sure you send us an email and we can get you an account set up there. If you've never used it before, hey, it's free. Why not use it? It's such a phenomenal tool to be able to use, to be able to put in your client's information, their health, all of that's going to generate quotes from the cheapest carrier to the most expensive. Really cool system to be able to help you out there in the field or while you're on the phone. And coaches, managers, when you're doing call to closes, so easy to type in everything and get some accurate numbers for your agents. So if you don't have that set up yet, make sure you send us an email so we can set up your account if you would like to have that provided to you. So jumping into today's call, let's talk about some promotions here. So two big ones. The first one up, let's give Ariel a big shout out for hitting her apprentice promotion, going 10K back to back. Had a phenomenal run as she just got started hitting her promotion. So great work to you, Ariel, achieving that level and hitting that first promotion there. So super excited for you. And guys, that just shows you what's possible. All right. It shows you what is possible. I can't take credit for that graphic. That was her coach that made that one. But super proud of you, Ariel, for being able to achieve that promotion here. So with that comes a lot of cool things, right? Get your commission increase, and now you get to run towards the next one, which is even more exciting. So super proud of you, Ariel, for putting in the hard work and doing that. So everybody go to the agency chat and give her a big shout out for hitting that as she just got started. What a cool way to kick off the rookie year then with a promotion right off the bat. So nice work to you, Ariel. Next promotion is none other than Erin Lunsford, who you guys all know. Big shout out to her for hitting one of the biggest levels here at FFA, one of the hardest ones to hit, because this is a promotion that it's not just dependent upon you and upon your efforts. It's really dependent upon you and your team at the same time. So this promotion is one that if an agent achieves it, not only are they writing at a high level individually, but they're also coaching and training their team to do it as well. So big shout out to Erin for hitting that executive level, going over 50K as a team back-to-back months. So one of the milestone promotions, super proud of her. And I can't think of an agent really more deserving than hitting that promotion, because she has just worked so hard this year, keeping her name at the top of the chart as the running agent of the year, but also building at the same time. So you guys are going to get to hear from Erin here shortly. And if you guys have questions for her, drop it in the comments or in the WhatsApp chat, and I'll be glad to put her on the spot. She knows I like putting her on the spot on the conference call. So any questions you guys have, there's no limits to what you can ask Erin. We can put her on the hot seat today in just a few minutes. So before we jump it over to Erin, I wanted to go over 3 promises that God has given us that I think is really going to help you out in this career and really just in life as a whole. So you might have to zoom into that picture if you're on your phone, but that is a picture of me holding Bennett when he was just a little newborn, and he pooped out of his diaper. And as I'm sitting there holding him, I start, hearing like the poop come out. Then I start feeling something, and I look down and it went all over me, right? All this yellow baby poop going all over me. I put this picture on here for you guys because the first promise that God has given us is the promise of being rescued. All right. And he definitely rescued me in this situation, but that's just a funny picture for you guys to get your morning going off. But what does he mean by the promise of rescue, right? It means that when you are in the valley, right, or you are in a hard spot, he's waiting to come, all right, to save you. And I think that we forget that sometimes. Sometimes we only realize that when we put ourselves in the valley. We don't really realize it when things are going good. And so I want to share that first promise with you because he's here to rescue you every single day with everything that you're going through, right? I know when this event happened here, he rescued me because Alicia was on standby with some baby wipes to get this cleaned up. After she thought it was funny and decided to take a picture of it, then she decided to rescue me. But he's waiting to show up for you. And don't wait until you're in the valley before you actually see him show up, right? He's showing up for you every single day. So that's the first promise. The second promise, okay, is the promise of his presence. So this is a picture of our old Dodge Durango. As we were driving, we were living in the mountains at the time and then driving to Chapel Hill, actually. And at the time, we just had Landon and Tanner, and we were on the highway. And if you guys know what highway this is, it goes through Chapel Hill into Raleigh, Durham, and like Burlington. It's like a 4 or 5 lane highway. And it was raining out really bad. And I'm driving. Landon, I think, was 2 at the time. Tanner was a couple months old. And as we're driving, it's raining really bad. This guy hydroplanes across the highway right in front of us. I slam on my brakes. We hydroplane around him. And we ended up hitting the concrete median going like 65 miles an hour head on. And it was one of those situations. Have you ever been in something where it's like slow motion, like it happened within 5 seconds, but it feels like it's like 20 minutes long? Well, as I'm driving the car and we hit this median, right? I brace for the impact of hitting this median, and then we bounce off of it. I remember reaching back and holding on to Tanner's car seat because his car seat was coming up. It was like one of those infant car seats. And I held on to the thing. And as the car is like spinning, right? I remember seeing Alicia. She was okay. The airbag went off. I remember holding Tanner. And in Tanner and Alicia's windows, because they were on the passenger side, all I could see was headlights. And I remember like in that split second thinking, like at any second, all these cars are going to hit them from that side, right? Because it was like, I'm not kidding. When I looked out their window, you could see the headlights. Like it was like the cars were right there. So I was holding Tanner's seat, reaching behind me. And I remember just thinking like, we're going to like get destroyed in this car, right? I remember thinking like that was going to be it, right, for us. And so I'm just holding onto his seat, waiting for all these cars to hit us. And we spun and spun, and then the car stopped. And I'm still holding his seat, and no car hit us, right? It was crazy. I got out of the car, and as I got out of the car, I looked behind me. And I'm not kidding you. Have you ever seen that like the graphic of Moses parting the Red Sea where he puts the staff down and then the water just separates? That's what these cars look like on the highway. Right behind our car was a 6-car pileup from where a truck had slammed on his brakes. He actually stopped all the cars from hitting us. And then around the car were all the other cars that swerved. And so somehow we hit a median, went across the entire highway, like 6 lanes, and never got hit by another car. We ended up walking out of that. And the worst thing that happened was Alicia banged up her knee. And Landon, our 2-year-old at the time, had like seatbelt marks, like from where his car seat had like put pressure on him. No broken bones, nothing. Tanner, being a little baby, was perfectly fine, right? And so I share this story with you guys because it was like in that moment that his presence was really evident, right? Like there's really no reason that we should have walked away from that except for him. And so sometimes it takes events like that for you to realize where his presence is. Like at the time I was driving that car, I wasn't thinking about him saving our life within 30 seconds of that accident, right? But that's what he does. That's what happens. So he's with you throughout the whole day, right? As you guys are doing this job, as you're trying to grow your business, as you're trying to take care of your families, he's there all the time. He's not just there when the accidents happen, right? And so tune into that promise that he gave you. All right. And then the last one is the promise of peace, right? This is about how old the kids were when we got in that wreck. This was when Tanner was just born. So the wreck was like a few months after that. But the promise of peace, okay? So many of us run around looking for peace when it's already right in front of you, right? And so that's his promise for you. Tune into that, right? It's amazing what happens when you just let go and let him guide your career, let him guide your agency, let him guide your family. All right. And you just walk in the steps that are provided to you. So those are 3 promises to kick off today's call. But without further ado, we're going to tune in and put Erin on the hot seat to talk about this promotion, talk about her year, talk about her career. All right. And as you guys know, she's the running agent of the year. She's been in the top since we started this company, right? So if you want to ask her questions, drop them in the comments or the agency chat. But without further ado, I will add Erin here. Erin, you are live. How are you doing this morning?
I'm here.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a good thing.
That's funny. I like the shirt. You're looking very Christmas.
Thanks.
Like you got is that your tree in the background?
That's one of them.
You have multiple trees?
Maybe. I think I have 4.
Like 4 legit Christmas trees?
I actually have 5. Sorry. Yes, 5 legit Christmas trees.
I don't know how Jeffrey does it. Alicia's following in your footsteps though, because we've got 1 tree. She's got this Grinch tree. Actually, I hear she's probably got 5 trees too. Sutton's got a tree in her room. Anyway, so you guys are looking very festive. So let's talk about this, Erin. First off, congratulations on hitting your promotion. I think that's such a hard promotion to hit, but to hit it in the months of November, like, is even harder. You've got Thanksgiving, you've got winter, you got all this stuff coming. So, like, just hats off to you and your team for hitting that. But give everybody an idea, like, what went into those 2 months for you guys to be able to run and hit that thing?
Well, my number one goal, team goal for the whole year, all along was to hit this promotion. And I knew that 35K individually, it's doable, but extremely hard 2 months in a row, with having a family and, them having to be here, there, and everywhere and, all that. So I knew that I had to have my team running beside me, in order to hit this. So October, I think it hit me in September that, hey, we're almost to the end of the year and I need 2 months to hit this promotion. So I started really brainstorming a lot in September, and, I tried personally to go ahead and set up my month for October, to go ahead and get a jump start for myself for October so that I could put up big numbers for myself and then add my teams in. So I really started preparing my October in September. And then in October and November, I ran an incentive. I changed up a little bit in November from what we did in October, but several of the agents crushed the incentive in October. And then I changed it just a little bit for November, and then some of them also reached it in November. So I was extremely proud of them for that. And I kept asking, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? In the meantime of that, I trained Ariel. Ariel's first month was October. So I was training Ariel in October, and in the end of October, beginning of November, I was helping train Mindy. And while they were riding along with me, I straight up told them, this is my goals. This is what I'm running for this month, for next month. this is how you hit promotions and this is what I'm going for. So I try to be very upfront with my team and let them know I'm here for you, but I'm running because, I need to also put up these numbers. I'm not just asking you to put them up for me. So I struggled some in November, just with, the holiday and all, but so I was really, really nervous about the November numbers. But I knew we have to do this. We hit it in October, so we have to keep going. So I was out there every day as much as I could, as long as I could, pushing. And so many, even some of my part-time agents were putting up 8,000, 9,000 in the month, which is big for them. So I was very, very grateful to them and very thankful for them.
That's awesome. I think too, it's like, you talked about how you were running with your numbers too, and kind of like setting that standard. It's amazing. Like when you kind of set that example, when you set that stage, it's people will just naturally want to run with you, right? Because they see what you're running for, they see the team motivation. And so I love that. Like not only were you able to hit this as a team, but you did it while you were also like one of the top individual writers too. Like if I look at your team's numbers, the number one agent was you, right? And then your agent. So like just setting that stage, I think speaks volumes to just motivating your agents, motivating your team. Like you could motivate them on a call or talk or coaching call, right? But really everyone's more motivated by just seeing like the result that you're getting out of it and running towards it. So I love that. So Aaron, give everybody, right? We've got a lot of agents that watch this in the agency, but we also have people that will watch this after the fact on Facebook and on YouTube and all of that. And like, what's insurance like for you, right? Like you came from the banking industry. Like most people wouldn't be like, let me leave a nice job and go knock on doors and sell insurance. So like give everybody like, why did you even start in insurance?
So I was at the credit union for State Employees Credit Union for 14 years. I did loans, mortgages. I did insurance there as well, but it was a little bit different. I did all lines of insurance, but being on the coast, I never really utilized like homeowners and things like that because it wasn't very, I couldn't really beat what other people could do. So it was extremely difficult. Even with life insurance, everything just had to be perfect. Your BMI, everything had to be perfect. So I didn't even get a lot of experience there with insurance besides some denials and things like that. And when COVID hit, right before COVID hit, we didn't know that we were going to be on lockdown yet. I went to my manager and I was stuck where I was. I was literally like, this is your position and you're the highest that you can go without leaving this area. And, the manager that we had, she wasn't going anywhere anytime soon. So I was stuck there and I really felt not underappreciated, but not by the credit union. I didn't feel underappreciated, but by the ones there within the credit union at my branch. And so I told my manager, I was like, this has just gotten to be too much. You put so much on me, which I like to be busy. But I wanted to take a step back. And she was like, oh, this is becoming personal. And I said, this has been personal. Here's my 10 mortgages. I'm leaving. And she's like, so I was always a very, very hard worker. I loved, to be busy and, stay with my head down doing, running. So I left there. And then literally like the next week, COVID, we were on lockdown and my kids were home. And I said, this is not for me. I'm not a stay-at-home mom. I'm not a teacher, especially not to my own 3 boys. I cannot do this. My sister saw a post that Taylor had made and she's like, don't you have your insurance license? And I was like, yeah. And she said, look at this. So that's kind of where I started. I mean, I jumped in as quickly as possible because I couldn't be a stay-at-home mom teacher. Um, so really from there, I took off. That was about the summertime when I actually got childcare. So from then on, in 2020 is when it really, I took off running. I was very fortunate. I hit my first 2 promotions in the first 4 months of working, of running, and I didn't even know what I was doing really. But I tell my agents all the time, these clients don't know that you don't know what you're doing. If there's something that you don't know, just act like you know it. I mean, and ask for help. So, I was told, go out there and get busy. And, after our training, I felt like, oh my goodness, I can't do this on my own. But you figure it out. It's just one of those things that you have to do it to figure it out. And if you're out there doing it, then it will come and you will figure it out. And this is something that I've learned that I can do, and I don't mean to sound, but I feel like I do well at it. And so it's something that since I succeed, I feel like, oh, I need to keep doing it and keep getting out there and keep running. And I do it for myself, to make myself feel like I've accomplished, but also for my family, of course. And with our schedule, it works for our schedule. It works a lot better for our schedule than being in the office, working set hours. And all my boys are in baseball, and my oldest played football for high school, and so I never miss anything, and I'm extremely, extremely grateful for that. So yeah, ever since day one, there's only been one little I don't want to call it a hiccup. There's only been one downtime for me, and that was about 6 months after my mom passed away. But after that, I realized, what am I doing? I've got to get back out there. I got to get out of my head. And so I got, that was like July of 22. And ever since then, I feel like I've been going, and I haven't wanted to stop.
It's funny you say that. I remember I pick on you on calls all the time because I'm like, sometimes I have to tell Erin to stop working, like you guys would be over at the house or do something. I'd look over, you'd be like on your iPad writing an app at like 9 o'clock. I'm like, it was always funny. But one thing too that you said there, Erin, is, you were capped with where you were at. And that's like what attracted me to this industry too, is the chance to go out there and in any given week, in any given month, like whatever you make is what the effort is that you put into it. Nobody's capping you at a salary, or no one's capping you at an income amount. Like it's wide open. And I remember being in the same spot. Like I was a manager at my W-2 job, project manager. I was only ever going to get promoted when the next guy like retired, which who knows when that would be. So same thing with that opportunity. Then with your boys and baseball and all of that, I always talk, like I was talking to my dad the other day, and I'm like, I don't know how people can have a regular job, 9 to 5 with kids in today's world. Like you got to pick your kids up from school, take them here, take them there, baseball game here. Like I don't know how my parents did it. Like looking back on it, just the way scheduling is now, it's crazy. And if you have, multiple kids and they're each in sports at different times, it's like, it's wild. So I love that this has been something that you've been able to succeed at, like significantly succeed at, and be able to do all of that at the same time. It's a lot to juggle, but you've crushed it the whole time. So let's talk about what does it take for an agent to be a top agent, to be successful, right? And I'll give everyone kind of like some insight. So you're on track, right, to hit 200, probably 200K in production. Your team production is even way higher than that. So you're doing that plus team building. You've done it pretty much every single year. Even that year, you said when you went through when your mother passed away, I remember when you came back and you're like, hey, I'm ready to go again. I think you put up like 120K in like 5 months. Like, it was just something ridiculous that you just started doing. So, like, give everybody an idea, like, how does an agent do that? How does an agent become an agent like you?
You know, when I came into insurance and, I was, I was told, oh, you have to make all these sacrifices. And some of the sacrifices that I heard were just so big. And I was like, I am coming into this so that I don't have to sacrifice some of those things that, they're saying as an example. But you do have to make sacrifices. I'm not willing to make big sacrifices like those. I'm not going to miss my kids doing something. I'm not going to miss, if my kids are sick, I don't care that they're 17, 14, and 10. If my kids are sick, I'm going to be at home with them. And, I'm not willing to sacrifice, but there are a lot of things, you like, Jeffrey, this evening I'm going to work until such and such time. And yes, I'm working an hour and a half away. So add that to it. So I'm sacrificing time like that. And you have to be willing to do that. So when I get home that night, he'll have cooked or we'll have leftovers. I'll have planned ahead of time that I'm going to be late this night. So I cook extra the night before, or he'll have cooked. So a lot of sacrifices like that, but it's just smaller sacrifices. But those smaller ones, they add up. So I might say I need to be late 2 nights this week. So, Jeffrey, he's always willing. He complains sometimes, but he doesn't mean it.
I can hear him right now. He's saying, I do mean it. I do mean it.
He does. He probably does, but he does it anyway. So I say he doesn't mean it. But he knew. I told him, I was like, look, the only goal I'll have this year, not only, but the biggest goal I have this year is to hit this promotion. And I need to be full force running as hard as I possibly can. And I'm going to need you to help me. And we figured it out. So, yes, I'm sacrificing a few evenings here and there, but now that I've hit that promotion, yes, I want to hit the next one too, but, I can kind of be like, okay, now step back and, figure out what I need to do. And I'm not, giving up that time now. So I gave it up, for those 2 months, those 3 months, whatever it was, so that, I could step back and refigure for the next goal. So you just have to be aware, and you have to, you have to make your schedule. You have to communicate with your spouse. You have to communicate. My 17-year-old, hey, I need you to do this. So I love that he can drive. I never thought I would say that, but even though it scares me a little, it is extremely helpful. So just making, setting your goals, communicating with your spouse, with your family. And I take care of my grandparents. My granny will be 91 this month, and my grandfather will be 92 next month. And he has been diagnosed with dementia. That was about May, but so it was pretty early. But it is getting more and more. It's progressing more and more. So, my granny, she'll literally call me all day long for different things. And if I answer, I answer. If I don't, she knows. But it's just sacrificing that little bit, and those small sacrifices, they add up to be big, and you have to be willing to do that for a little bit of time.
Yeah, that's so true. I think the biggest thing, and watching you hit this promotion now at perfect timing, you set a goal for this year and then you crushed it, was that you had the goal, like you had what you wanted to hit. And it wasn't just, sometimes I'll ask people like, hey, what's your goal? And they're like, well, I just want to do good, or I just want to do that. Like, your goal is like, this is the number I need to hit. This is what I want to go for. This is how much I'm going to have to work. Like, you had it narrowed down to like a T. even so much that you have dinners planned, right? Like all of that. So, guys, if you want to hit the numbers like Erin's hitting, it just takes that level of detail, like that level of focus and intentionality with it. So, Erin, last question for you. What do you want for Christmas this year? I'm giving Jeffrey one here. I'm gonna hook him up. What's like the number one thing that Erin Lunsford wants for Christmas?
I have no idea what's on I don't really have a Christmas list. I'm just thankful I have my boys, I think, completed besides some stocking stuffers. So I never can really think of anything I want for Christmas.
You guys make it so hard on us. I asked Alicia that, and she's the same thing. She's like, I don't know what I want, but I'm like,
I mean, if anybody knows Jeffrey, I know probably about half of you know my husband, and he's just a bit. I mean, I don't know how you can tell him how he is, but if you know Jeffrey, when I told him, hey, look, I hit my promotion, he was like, oh my goodness, thank goodness. He said, now we get to save money. We don't have to get a divorce. So,
well, there you go. For
Christmas,
like,
if you don't hit this promotion, we're getting a divorce.
Christmas this year, you saved your marriage by hitting that promotion. That was the Christmas present.
What I told him, he's like, "Oh, thank goodness, we get to pocket all that money. We won't have to pay for a divorce attorney." So, yeah, but he definitely was joking with that. But he kept saying that he's like, "If you don't hit this promotion after all we've gone through the past 2 months, then." So, I definitely he'll comment and say I work too much sometimes and all that, but he's never not supported me. And I'm very, very grateful for that.
Yeah, that goes big. I mean, it's so much easier to do this job and to have a business. Cause I know he runs his business too, right? You guys are both running your own show, not having to work for anybody. And it's so much easier when you've got that support. If there's not that support there, it's hard. And I think one of the biggest things is just communicate. Like, he knew what you wanted to run for. So there's that support. But if you didn't tell him and you were just showing up, at 8:00 at night after being gone all day, he'd be like, what are you doing? So it's like the communication is key there. But Erin, I appreciate you for jumping on here. And again, super proud of you for everything you've accomplished. Like not only this team promotion, but just look at your numbers all year. You've been number one, I think, the entire year, just putting your name up at the chart. So.
It was 1 month.
Who beat you that
one
month?
time.
Savannah got you. Okay. Well, there you go. Savannah's going to be watching this. She's coming back. So, but Erin, we appreciate you. Congratulations on hitting that thing. Super proud of you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. I had a lot of encouragement throughout the whole FFA, not just my team. So everybody that texted me and all that, it meant a whole lot. So thank you all.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're all just one big family here. So, guys, we appreciate you for tuning in. It's Wednesday. Let's go have a huge day out there today, and we will be back here on Friday. Thanks again, Erin.
Thank you.